back, everybody. Yep, it's that time of the week again, bitch. Welcome back to another fabulous episode of Old School New School Comedy Podcast. And I am your host, Christy Miller. And with me this week is one of my partners in crime. He's my comedy husband. And we're on the road together right now at Parx Casino in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. And we're here in the hotel room, because, why not? All crazy shit happens. What happens in Shippensburg stays in Shippensburg. But he's probably like my best friend, my comedy husband. We do CelebraTEA together. That's our other podcast. So it's been on a break for a while because we've been busy, but we'll get back to it. It's a lot of fun. And right now, you can see him on Drybar. He has a hit Drybar comedy special that's phenomenal. And he's probably one of the funniest storytellers you'll ever meet. And I just want to introduce to you one of my favorite humans, Mark Riccadonna.
Thank you for the great intro.
Right? I give good intro. Everybody goes, are you talking about me?
I know, shit. All right. I can't wait to see who's coming in.
Right.
This is going to be...
What's behind door number 3? So welcome to Shippensburg, Pennsylvania.
This is pretty cool. I mean, it's fun to go on the road. It's really fun to go on the road with a friend because that drive was...
brutal.
It was a long drive. I mean, we seriously were like truck drivers.
Yeah.
You alone from when I picked you up till here, I'll be, by the time the day's over, it'll be like 6 hours driving.
Yeah, and I did 1 hour and 20 on the train.
Yeah, and then I drive my kids earlier that day, so I'm looking at like
8 hours, yeah.
8 hours of just driving in one day, and then we have to do a show.
Yeah.
It's like at least truck drivers, after their drive, they get, all right, I'm done, I'm going to bed.
You today was like a 1-star Uber driver day. You got no money, no love, and you just drove bitches everywhere.
You're driving like a motherfucker.
And on the way here, he was driving Miss Crazy. That's me, darling. Yeah, tonight we're at the Parx Casino in Shippensburg, Pennsylvania. If you're around, come out. Well, this will air after, so. Yeah. But it was
so get your DeLorean.
Yeah.
Set it for what's today's date?
I don't even know what today. The 27th, June 27th, 2024. McFly.
28th.
28th.
Yeah. So
all right, McFly.
Back and then come see us. It's gonna be fun.
That's right. Well, next time we do it, you guys have to come out. So. We'll just pretend it's over, and we had a great show.
It was amazing. Standing ovations every joke.
Oh my God! Even the slot machines got up and did the wave.
There is a weird thing because you'll see tonight where the show is, right. And it's even at the Parx that's in Bensalem, and I like that room as well. But it's weird because it's not a separated room. It's like still part of the casino.
Sure.
So especially with my style of like storytelling, I'll be telling this like intimate story, and then all of a sudden we come around the corner and you hear and you're I won, oh my God! And you're just like, okay, my story's not as good as that.
Oh, that was when I did the Meadowlands with Bonnie McFarlane. I did that show, and it was in a lounge, and it was very cool. It was a really cool lounge, had a bar. It was like its own separate entity, but it had this big opening that wasn't covered. It was like a balcony, but it had like couches and chairs, really cozy, right? Like, yeah. And it had a stage, and so there was probably music in there, just because. And then they did comedy, and it was crazy. In the middle of my set, I hear, "Wow, fuck yeah!" Because it's all the horse races. And I said, apparently that horse won better than me tonight, so I'll have what he's having.
I was at the Borgata, and it was, what was the last big horse race? The real big one?
Kentucky Derby?
And
sure, I don't know.
It was like Sunday afternoon. I went down I left my room, and I go down to grab lunch or, well, it was my breakfast, but
everybody else's dinner.
Yeah. And I walked downstairs, and I'm just like, holy shit, like the place was packed. Like there was like thousands of people there, and I was just like, it's Sunday, like what is going on? No, it was like, yeah, I think it was a Sunday. And I'm like, what is going on? And I walk over, and it was just like complete lunacy. How many people were right in front of the room where the comedy is, And I went over to the lady at the counter when I got coffee, and I'm like, what the hell's going on? Because it's not football. There's not like whatever. And she was like, oh, horse racing. I'm like, oh, none of these people are coming to the show.
They make way too much money to laugh. And when they lose, they don't laugh. They cry and kill their wives and beat their children and sell their horse.
Casino gigs are tough.
Yeah, they are.
And they're like merch at a casino gig. Forget it. You're not going to sell shit. Like, I have a trunk load of shirts right now. I'm not even going to bring them in.
Oh, I have all my keychains, my strongest female comedian keychains.
Don't be offended when nobody buys shit.
Oh, I don't care.
Do I get a keychain or a chance at $1 million?
Or do I blow it on that fucking one-arm jack over there? Do I yank that crank and lose my dreams?
And that's me over in the corner.
Me and Mark's approached up with his pants down. Slot machine right here. Put a quarter in and pull the lever.
Lose your dream. Come on.
Round and round it goes. Where it stops, nobody knows. Oh, I can't wait for tonight. They're going to fucking hate me. They're going to turn me into the glue factory. Fuck this horse.
There is a place right up the street, and they make all your blue cheese and ranch dressing is made right up the street here.
Really?
Yeah, they make
what
all
brand
the
is it?
condiments. I don't know. Fucking...
I'll take a condom mint. Those things taste terrible, latex. It's worse, like sucking cock and it has a condom on it. Why? It's like eating the candy bar with the wrapper on it. Why?
And this is the fun you can have tonight in Shippensburg.
And this is my closing bit, people. What's with these condoms? I mean, oh, God, I love funny road stories, and you have so many. And even the times that we've gone on the road, like even on the way here, we were trying to make stupid videos in the car because we're fucking 5. And I go to start a video, I'm like, holy shit, the cock on that horse. This horse is standing by the fence with his dick hanging out. And I'm like, hey, you know, if a dude, that's like a dude in a window, like, hey, I know my cock is big. I'm not afraid. Who the fuck are you, lady, looking at my big fucking horse cock? You know?
I thought it was so weird. He was leaning against the post. Like, hey.
He's like, how you doing? I'm like, is this OnlyFans?
I wonder how many times that worked.
Only Haze? I don't know. Only Nays?
Only Nays.
I'm like, go ahead, Mr. Horse. I put the whore in horse. Nothing, people? Wait a minute. Anyway. We're such children. You guys don't even understand. Like, when this man and I are together, like, this is... We are so like stupid. I know. You make me feel like I want to, like, hey, dude, pull my finger. You want to see something cool? Watch me run down the hallway and jump and land on the fucking door and smash it. Like an 8-year-old. Remember we used to do that shit? I dare you to run into that wall. Okay. Boom.
Oh, God. I like doing the road. I started in the city. That's how I started. I was... in New York, and I never went on the road. And then I started doing the road. And I remember it was like, you do the city to get seen, right? You do the road to make a living. Right. And there were like people who looked down on the road comics, and there were people on the road that looked down on the city comics, because it was like, a comic would show up in a, whatever, and they'd be like, you got 45? Because city comics usually do shorter sets. So it was notorious. Like, I heard stories of like really great comics that I like, their name, and they would you'd be at a club and be like, oh, that person was here last week. How were they? No, they couldn't finish their time, and you're like, what? Like, they've been doing comedy for 1,000,000 years. They can't fill 45 minutes. Like, they hit about 30, and then they ran out of steam. And it's like, oh. Well, it's true though, because like the comics, like when I stay in the city, I hate it. Because I don't get a lot of quality time, because clubs aren't set up that way. Yeah. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's great because I love them. I treat the city clubs like a gym. Yeah. I go and work out. I'm not there to impress anybody. I'm there to work out. So when I go on the road, I can have chunks and then build my 45-hour set. Yeah. That's what I use it for, to try shit out. And well, the city's like sprinting. It's like being an Olympic sprinter. And the road's like being a long distance runner. And it's hard for people to adjust unless they know how to adjust to both.
Right. And it's
a lot of road comics have horrible habits and are very hacky because they need to fill time. So they do.
And then they come to the city and they bomb hard, and they don't know what they're doing. And then people look at them, this is hack piece of shit, you know.
Yeah.
And it's like, it's. But it's for me, it was easy because I was you know, at the Comedy Store growing up, and then I had Paul Mooney, you know, with me at all times, pushing me, and Dice, and I would watch these guys, and I would work, and then we had, you know, with the Comedy Store, we had 3 rooms.
You could bounce around.
We bounced around all night, but we also, Mitzi gave us the belly room to do our like 1-man, 1-woman shows, or do a comedy night. So I would do nights in the belly room constantly. So the shortest set I think I ever did in the belly room was 30. Wow. You know, the longest set I did in a show I did that I headlined and brought a bunch of, you know, packed it out, was a 2-hour show. I was on for an hour and 53 minutes.
Yeah.
And it was like, it was great. It was fun. And it was, but it's like, you know, with the Comedy Store, it's such a different breed than the regular city shows, because the city is so, you know, convoluted. So like, it's concentrated with millions of guys. And there's cliques of millions of guys, and there's different clubs, there's different circuits, and there's speakeasies, and there's bar shows, and there's all these other shit. And so there's so many comics that everybody gets 8 minutes.
Yeah.
And that's it. And that's fine, but it's like, for me, I can't even, it takes me 20 minutes to say hello. You know, I'm like, that's my show.
Didn't even introduce myself.
But it's like, you know, you get into bad habits because a lot of comics that aren't seasoned or experienced stick to these clubs, so they're trying to rush through their set. And I try to tell them, slow down.
Relax.
If you only get 2 jokes out in 8 minutes, dude, that's fucking great, because in 4 jokes you got 16.
Yeah.
And then 6 jokes you got, you know, 24 minutes. Look at how you built your act, and look how small it was, and like how easy, you know. And one of the guys is a good friend of mine who was doing that. I would coach him. I would get so mad at him because he has a Cuban accent, and he talks so fast, and you can't understand him. It's like, and it's like, okay, slow down. Last night we did a show together. The show I hosted, it was his show. He asked me to host, so I go out there, and I watched him. And I don't know if he finally listened or what happened. This fucker kicked back, enjoyed himself. He was himself. I've never seen him kill like that. Nice. And all the years I've known him. And I was like, I grabbed him after the show, and I was like, I am so fucking proud of you. You did it. You found it. Yeah. But he had been going off on the road too a lot lately. So I think that helped him out a lot. But it's like, why would you want to rush every joke you ever wrote in 8 minutes?
Yeah, it was weird because when I was, you know, I was a fixture in the city, and I would play the city clubs, but I was doing these long sets because of the storytelling style. So it was, I had, when I was trying to work out the parachute bit, which is the like big ad that they use for my Drybar special.
Yes. Download like, Drybar comedy, Mark Riccadonna right now.
Yes. And but the bit's like 10-15 minutes depending on how I tell it. And you know, in the city on the weekend you only get like 15 or 20 minutes for your spots. Yep. So it'd be like, I'm gonna go up and do 1 bit.
But that's brilliant though. But if you think about it, that's brilliant. I
enjoyed doing it, but it was just a weird thing.
It's just funny because like everybody has like 10 jokes in 10 minutes, and you're like, I had 1.
They're looking at their notes and they have like 50 things written down, and they're, which jokes am I gonna do? And I'm like, skydive.
Well, it's like too. It's like when people like, I go, how long do I have? They have 8 minutes, and like, you know, like my longest bit I ever wrote was 8:32, and it was my Kardashian bit. Nice. When they were at their peak, when Caitlyn was transitioning, Kanye was broke, and Kim was still a whore. You know, it was like those days. And then it was an 8-minute and 32-second bit. And then my Mariah Carey bit, when she did the New Year's Eve thing and lip sync and then fucked it up, she couldn't hear and she threw a hissy fit. That was like 6 minutes long. My Andrew Cuomo bit was 6.5 minutes long. And it's like, it's just
only comics time shit like that, where it's like, Well, I have this one bit. It's 8 minutes 32 seconds, and then if I do the extended version, it's like, no other profession does that. Like, I do a root canal in 15 minutes 15 seconds, and
yeah, I drive around the block and pick people up at the airport in 15.9 seconds, and then I drive around the loop in case I miss the departure gate, and I go around to the arrival 11.8 seconds tops.
But if you ask a comic, how long's your longest bit? They know to the second.
Yeah.
Like they have
because we have to time
economy.
shit. You know, we're on a time constraint. And if you go over, like at the Comedy Store, if you went over the light, Mitzi would punch you in the face.
I've noticed the younger generation, and I'm not trying to be like, old man, get off my lawn, but the younger generation doesn't respect the clock. Like, if you went over at Stand Up New York when I was like a door guy there, and like you went over, you were like, you got punished, and it was like, okay, no more spots for a month.
Yep.
You know, and it was like a real big deal. If you got a reputation of going over, you wouldn't get booked. Now it's like, you tell a comic that, you know, you're doing 15, they'll do like 25, and they'll be like, yeah, but I was on a roll, and you realize like, oh, nobody's punishing you. It's like the little kids now, like where nobody yells at kids anymore.
Yeah.
It's like, that's what I feel like the younger crop of comics are kind of like, they're not getting yelled at.
Yeah, I asked them, like I'll ask people, I'm like, just light me at 3 minutes, give me a 3-minute light. I go, because my bits are long and it takes me a while to wrap up, and I don't want to go over. And it's like, even if I go over a minute, I feel bad.
Yeah. And the other thing too is like, if you stole material back in the day, like there were fist fights in the bar.
Oh, in the parking lot at the Comedy Store, that was a boxing ring, dude. That was like, and in this corner, weighing in at 225 pounds, the king of thieves, Carlos Mencia. And in this corner, his opponent, coming in at a solid 185 pounds, 2% body fat, angry as fuck, is Joe Rogan. And they would brawl, dude. It was great.
People would, like, you got called out, man. Where it's like, now I feel like I see people doing other people's bits, and I also like don't understand. I see people doing like older comics bits.
Yeah.
And you're going like, you know, that's somebody, and you say whoever, like, oh, that's the Sam Kinison bit, and they're like, who's that? And it's like, wait, you're a comic and you didn't research like comedy? There
was a kid one night on stage at Broadway Comedy Club, where I usually broadcast out of, and I'm sitting in the back, and he's on stage, and he's doing the Eddie Murphy bit, when he did, you know, I wish I was a slave, I would have fucked somebody up, shit, roll up to me and shit. Remember that?
Yeah.
I'd be all, suck my dick, massa. Suck my motherfucking dick. That's right, I ain't bailing a motherfucker, you know, and all that shit. And he did that shit word for word, and then he added to a tag to it, and then they made it his own. And I'm sitting in the back going, Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy, Eddie Murphy. And
No. Mine's completely different because I do it with a Southern accent.
I do it with my eyes closed. No, mine's different because I memorized it. What? That doesn't even make any sense. My favorite, too, is these New Jacks. I mean, because we didn't have the internet when we started, you know? So we didn't have access to every comedian's bits unless we had their albums.
Yeah.
Or saw their specials, right?
Yeah.
So we didn't, you know, we didn't have the social media where the clips were going through. And my favorite is watching these new kids. Like, they don't even realize they're stealing, I don't think. I think they're just so dumb.
Well, they do these, like, TikTok challenges where you lip sync other people's, like,
bits. And then they go viral.
Songs or whatever. And so I think people think, like, oh, it's okay to do that.
It's a sample. Like, it's sampling. No, it's not. It's stealing. Idiots. Like, my favorite is a comic. Like, I saw a comic one night at a club downtown in the city, and he was doing memes as his jokes. And I was like, that's a fucking meme, bro.
Okay, wait. Picture this. Okay. Let's pretend there's a cat growling, and then there's a lady over here yelling at the cat. And then, it's like, that's a visual joke.
Well, they would do like the jokes on the memes.
Oh, God.
Oh, if a woman sleeps around, she's a slut. But if a man sleeps around, if a woman sleeps with a bunch of men, it makes her a slut. But if a man does it, he's a what? He's gay, Karen. You know, like it's... It's like, you know, and it's just, God. But I watch. I'm like, oh my God, he's doing memes.
He's doing that. Yeah.
Oh my God.
Let's do some topical material.
See, my favorite, like, Janice Massetti and I always make jokes like this.
Love Janice.
Right? Because she's so fucking batshit crazy. She was on one of the early first incarnations of the show.
Oh, nice.
Yeah, and we had so much fun. I got to get her back on. And, you know, we talk about, you know, we're going to do an album called Before I Go.
Before I Go.
I'm going to leave you with this. Let's see, what else? What else? My favorite, this is my favorite. What else can I do? Oh, no, not that one. No, I did that one. No, that's too long. How much more time do I have? No, you have 0, obviously, because you're looking at your phone, you cunt. Sorry, people.
I would always let the comic, and I used to get mad at it, and now it's become regular, but the comic that would lean against the back of the wall, like hold the mic like this, and
one of my buddies does that.
And it's like, what, you're too tired from doing your 5 minutes of material tonight? I gotta sit down. Let me take a seat. You know, I gotta do 10 minutes tonight. I doubled my time. So.
I remember Dante Nero and I would sit there
he would sit. He's a sitter.
Well, he's a fat fuck with a busted hip. He has a right to. And Dante Nero is fucking hilarious. Okay? He's
a sitter, though. I always think it's weird that it's like, guys, you only have 10 minutes. You don't need to sit.
Yeah, he does because he's got a fucked up hip.
Well, yeah. I mean, the guy in the wheelchair got to sit, too.
Yeah, he's got to stand. I'm tired of that motherfucker sitting lazy.
It's a 20-year-old kid leaning against the wall going, what else do I want to talk to you about?
But so Dante and I would laugh at the kids that would sit. I'm like, dude, he doesn't have enough material to sit. Like, you have to have a certain amount of jokes to sit on a fucking stool. The only one who could do it that was not crippled was Paul Mooney. That man, Patrice,
Dante.
But Patrice didn't sit the whole time either. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
He stood up and worked the room, but Mooney would soon go on stage, pull that chair. Oh, it's the end of the goddamn world, and he would sit there for 2 hours.
Again, but Paul Mooney's also doing like an hour. These are people doing 10, 15-minute spots, and they're like sitting and leaning on the wall, and it's like, dude.
It's even worse.
And then they'll go stand at the bar the whole night.
A friend of mine was out of town a while back, and we're not friends anymore, but she used to run a mic at the stand. And she goes, I'm gone. Will you run my mic for me? And then you just pocket the money. I just don't want to cancel the mic. I just want to keep it going. There's a lot of regulars. And I made a few bucks, you know, because they all pay $5 to go on stage. And it's at the stand, so they don't give a shit.
Yeah.
She goes, you can yell at them. I do it all the time. I'm like, all right, cool. And literally, they have 5 minutes. Okay, 5, if that. Some of them only had 3, okay? And they're all staring at their notes when everybody's on stage. And they're all so worried about what everybody thinks. I'm like, shut the fuck up. I yelled at them. I go, nobody's watching you. They're looking at their notes, wondering what the fuck they're going to do in 5 minutes. Just do your shit. Work it out. And one kid sat on the stool. I pushed him off of it. I walked up and pushed him off. I said, you don't have enough material. Oh, but they loved me. They loved me. Like, will you host this forever? I said, fuck no, you guys make me fucking look bad.
I should rephrase of what I was
they were
bitching
fun.
about.
I loved it. It was fun.
If you're doing a long set, if you're up there for an hour and you sit down at some point, or you like do something, or like, oh shit, what was I talking about? That makes sense, because you're doing a long set and there's a lot going on and whatever. But like when you're just doing like 5 to 10 minutes, even if you're doing 20 minutes, just fucking stand.
It's called stand-up comedy, not sit your fat ass on a stool for 5 minutes comedy. You know, we should start a show like that. Everybody has to sit and do their jokes. I can't sit still.
I don't think I would be able to, but...
No, I like to jump around.
I mean, even during the pandemic when everybody was doing Zoom stuff, I had to get one of those things so you could stand up and have the camera. Because I was like, I feel so weird doing material sitting. I tried to do and if I did do it sitting, I would treat it like a desk. Like it was
right. Yeah, well, your setup at your house is, you know.
Yeah.
You can do that. In my apartment in New York, I couldn't. So I had my desk and the computer with the light so he could see, but I had you know, I had notes, so I was working on shit. I wrote my album, Brutally Yours, on iTunes, Spotify.
Available now.
Available now to everybody. Please download it. Please like me. Please stream it. Stream it works better than downloading. I haven't seen a penny because I won't. But if you stream it, it makes me look good. Anyway,
you can build your numbers. But
yep, exactly.
Not your account.
Yeah, I don't care. But it's like I had all my notes out. So it was great. So I knew when I would headline a show, how funny we headline shows on Zoom. Remember that? I go, I'm doing 30 minutes on Zoom. This isn't, and people are loving. What is wrong with you people? We are really in lockdown because you're having fun. I want to kill, my butt's numb, you know? But it was great because I got to have all my notes out and I could work on shit. And it was great for writing. Yeah.
When I do these corporate, I had to do a lot of corporate hosting stuff, and I would tape. If you looked at my wall, there was stuff taped all over, so it looked like I was looking up at the camera the whole time, or like reading notes.
Yep.
Let me tell you about the CEO of this company. He was a it's like there's just
it's hilarious.
Biography there.
Oh, do you know how many self tapes I had to do? That I had the thing up on the screen real big, and I had it up on the top towards the camera, so I could read it and look like I'm looking at the camera. And I'm like, it's a last minute. I have no time to memorize this. I just do a dry read through. Yep, that's all I can do. And I just dry read it. I read it through once. I go, okay, I see what the action is. All right, let's go.
I'm gonna do it.
And they're like, oh no, it's great. I'm like, oh, okay, sure. I don't have to memorize anything, do I?
I was trying to perfect during the pandemic doing the Mr. Roper, where I'd like tell the joke this way and then look right into the camera.
The only one who has that perfect thing is Rob Bartlett.
Oh God, he's
legend. So
good.
If you guys, if you're new to the show, a few episodes back, weeks ago, I'd say last October, November-ish somewhere, and probably in the 20s episode or whatever. Rob Bartlett. Just scroll through listen to. He's fucking hilarious. I want him back on the show. I told him, I said, please come back on the show.
He's so. He's just so lovable, and when he's shitting on you, you love it.
You want him to shit on you, when he's just ruining your life. It's like, oh. I feel like a whole person.
He was destroying Richie so bad that he actually 3 hours after we were done on the podcast.
That's Richie Byrne.
Richie Byrne, Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. Check it out on YouTube.
Check it out.
And he was killing us so hard.
Oh my God.
3 hours after I was doing something with the kids, and I get a text message, and it was Rob being like, I love you guys, right? That was all just for fun. And it was there's part of me going, I'm really glad he sent that because he was really hitting us hard. But there was also, I know, you're just busting. Especially he's a Long Island guy, so it's that's their way of saying I love you.
Exactly. I did his show, his 5 favorite funny films.
I did it, and my episode had sound issues. So
I loved my episode. Because I'm off the cuff. I'm a quick, and he's quick.
Yeah.
So it's he told me, he's I can't keep up with you. And I'm like, dude, if you throw me a bone, I'm going to run with it.
Yeah.
And I had him dying, but it was just so, because, everything comes to me crazy. And it was just, I posted a clip of it. It was so fun, but it was such a fun. He's such a great guy.
Oh,
he's just a legend. Just so one of the funniest people to, if I ever get something sold, I want him in the writer's room. I need him to guide. He needs to be the head writer because he's got to babysit everybody.
He would actually be an amazing showrunner.
I was just going to say showrunner, but I don't know if
he would. I think he would be so good at it because he understands when it comes to the character or of what you're doing, even when you're improvising. Right. He knows what works and what you can and can't do as the character. In an instant improv. Usually people have to study the character and figure it out. He just has it.
Yep.
The guy.
He's gifted. Yeah, he's a total genius. But so with you, I always have questions and stuff. But I love to ask this too: is what made you want to be a comic? Because this is the worst lifestyle ever. And how long have you been doing comedy?
So I've been doing comedy 23 years.
Okay.
Literally curiosity made me want to be a comic. I started working at a comedy club, not even knowing I wanted to do comedy. I always loved it, but I didn't.
Right.
To me, it was like, I'm going to work at this place and listen to comedy. Like, this is an amazing job.
Right.
Because I was an actor doing that. And then it was like curiosity of other comics. I would hang out with them, and they were just kind of like, go up. You should go up. You should do something. You know, like, tell the stories and stuff you're doing at the bar.
Right.
And so it was out of curiosity, but I didn't think it was going to be like a thing I did. I thought it was just like going to be fun.
Right.
And then it got to a point where a couple different comics were like, hey man, if you want, like, to go on the road and, you know, open the show. I was really good at getting audiences to listen.
Right.
Like, and like craziness going on and like herding them together. And they're like, if you want, like, come on the road and just like get the audience in shape and then bring me up. I'll give you some money. Next thing I know, I was like doing it a while, and I'm like, I think if I do this, like, take this serious and start actually writing and start like working on this, I think I could do this.
Yeah.
And so then I just started taking it serious. And as soon as I did, then I started bombing. When I didn't give a shit, it was like, people were like, I can't believe you've only been doing comedy like under a year or whatever. Like, people could not believe it. And then as soon as I tried to take it serious, it was like, I had to go through like a whole new set of growing pains, because it was like,
yeah, because you left your gut and left your trust in yourself, and just, you know, whatever happens, because you don't give a shit. There's no pressure, to putting everything in your head and overthinking everything.
Yeah.
And that's what fucks us up as comics.
Yeah.
We get stuck in our head.
To this day, I mean, I'm doing this for a long time and making a living at it and doing all that. I still don't, like, I remember hearing, I'd be on the road with these comics that are so awesome, and they would tell me, like, you have to do what makes you laugh. You have to do what makes you laugh. Mm-hmm. I still to this day don't do what makes me laugh, because I know I will not appeal to the audience at all, because the stuff that I find funny, I mean, like Zach Galifianakis, who we had the same manager when I first started, when he went and took off, it was like, oh my God, my sense of humor could make it. And like, it kind of made me excited. But I still, like, the stuff that makes me and my brother laugh, because he's the whole reason I even try to be funny, is to make him laugh.
Of course.
And if I did the stuff that him and I do, like when we're together, nobody would ever book me, because they'd be like, this is fucking weird. Like, this is out there and weird, and I don't know if this is funny or like you need help. Yeah. Because it's all like nonsense.
Yeah.
Like, it's very, like, I don't even know how to explain what we do, but like,
it's crazy, nonsense, silly, immature.
Yeah, it's Andy Kaufman, Zach Galifianakis kind of meets Will Ferrell.
Right. Just like slapstick stuff.
Like, and we laugh and have the greatest time. And we have our own language. We just break in the characters, and then he'll go into a character, and we just improvise. We drove from New York to Ohio together, and the entire time he was Larry King and I was Alec Baldwin. And we were doing an interview about King Kong. I don't know why. We didn't plan it. We didn't like, okay, here's the setup. We just started talking in character, and next thing I know, like, we're like, oh shit, we're almost home. we didn't break character. We even went into a store and got gas and like bought snacks and shit and stayed in character. People are looking at us. It was, I mean, that stuff makes me like laugh, and I can't do it on stage. But I do know what will make an audience laugh. Like, I can look at people and go like, I know what'll get you. Yeah. And that's what I kind of do.
But you have a really great sense of the craft, and you're smart, and you understand the concept of a joke, because you listen to enough comedy when you first start. Yeah. And you're around it in a club, being around the Comedy Store. You were at Stand Up New York. You're around it, so you're absorbing how to do it, and it's like, okay, and you hear the rhythm, because I hear comics like music. Yeah. Like, it's a song on the radio. I hear the you know, the first verse, the bridge, the chorus, the guitar solo, bridge, chorus, you know, second verse, whatever.
I think it's why a lot of comics compare it to jazz, and then when you hang out with musicians, they get it.
Yeah.
Like they get what we are, and we get what they are.
Yeah.
And it's similar language. It's just like we don't have talent.
Yeah, it's hilarious. But also, like, the way we tell jokes, the cadence, you know, like the rhythm.
Style.
You hear, like, you can hear a rhythm. Oh, that's Dave Attell. I can hear a rhythm. Oh, that's Mark Riccadonna. Oh, that's George Carlin.
Yeah.
Oh, that's Mitch Hedberg. That's Bill Hicks. You know, like, you can hear the rhythm, and you can, you know, everybody has their style, and it's...
Well, there are comics. If you took their act and you put it on paper, you go, this isn't funny. Mm-hmm.
It's how they deliver.
But then,
it's the POV.
It's just like if you look at notes on a chart, you're going like, oh, okay.
This is a hit song.
But if the guy likes bending the string and he's giving it, you know, putting some stank on it, all of a sudden you're like, holy shit, that's like B.B. King or you know, whatever.
Exactly. It's just like, you know, it's just... It's how you deliver. It's how you deliver a song. It's how you deliver a joke. It's what makes it ours, you know. And
it's also what makes a veteran comic comparative to a newer comic, because I know the show is old school, new school, but like a new comic, you still got to learn the notes. Like, you can't just jump in and be nuts.
No.
You have to learn the notes. You have to know how to play and read music before you can play in the band.
Yeah.
And it's not anything against younger comics. It's just you have to learn.
Well, and I've said this many times on the show, like when comics come to me for a private coaching, like, help me, I don't know what's happening. And I always tell them, you know, look at your stand-up comedy, your stand-up comedy itself is a child.
Yeah.
So how long you been doing it? Oh, like a year and a half. Okay, so you have a 1.5-year-old toddler. Not many words, learned how to walk, but, you know, still very dependent, not much vocabulary. You're not going to get much out of them, not a thought. So it's going to be like a lot of gaga goo goo. Yeah, totally self-absorbed, you know, an asshole and shit in his pants every 5 minutes. Trying to suck titties. You're still there. Oh, wait, hold on. But, you know, and I said, look at it that way. And then, you know, I always tell them, like, you know, from the 5 to 7 year mark, old jokes won't be working anymore because now your character is 5 years old, 6 years old. That's baby talk.
Yeah.
You know, those 1 year, 2 year jokes, that's baby talk. I know those are kids' stories. I don't want to play with that. I'm a big boy now. I'm a big girl now. So things aren't going to work anymore. So you either get rid of them, you give them away to some other kid who can use them, or let them fall, throw them in the trash, or you recycle them and rewrite them in your 6-year-old voice. And then, you know, when you hit 10, kids start to get a conscience by then. So they start forming thoughts. And then by the time they're 10 years old, they're assholes, but they have thoughts, but they think they know everything because they're 10. And they really just figured out how to wipe their own ass without getting any on their fingers, you know? And so then from 10 to 20, I say, now you figured out what your voice is or what your, your point of view is. And then from 10 to 20, you're actually writing for that 10-year-old voice. And the first 10 years are usually just evaporate.
Yeah. Well, I always tell younger comics, don't ever throw your notebooks away.
Never.
Stash them. Because then when you're in 20 years, you can revisit it and go, that was a great premise. I didn't do anything with it because I didn't know how yet. And now I can turn this into something. I've been doing this, and I just did it with Don at the Royal Club.
Don Jameson?
Yeah, we do a show called The Evil Twins. And I bring out a notebook from the first 5 years, and I open it up to a random page, and I read the bit, and I see if there's something there, or I see if, can we do something with this? Sure. And a lot of those notebooks are just premises. There's no punchline.
Right, exactly.
Like, I know what my notes are. Here. So, like, Don was like, leave your notebook up there. I'm going to open up your notebook and go through it. But the problem was like, a couple times he opened it up and he would read a premise and be like, there's no joke here. And I'm like, yeah, because I didn't.
It's premises.
I didn't have the punchline for it. That's why it's in a notebook and not on an album or something.
Exactly. Like, all my notes are premises or outlines. Like just, you know, right, there's the premise, and then there's a couple points I want to hit. Yeah. And that's it. So, like, sometimes I look at old notes and I go, what the fuck was I talking about? I don't even understand what this means. And you know? Yeah. But it's so fun to look back and go, oh, I remember that bit. Oh, that became something greater. Like, oh, fuck, man. I didn't know what to do then, but you know what? This is perfect for now. Now I can use my, you know, 28-year-old voice in stand-up, who's an adult, takes care of us as a job. You know, she's independent, you know, whatever, and she's, you know, not that kid anymore. Yeah.
There was one that I broke out that I saw, and that's like, now I know where to go with it. Right. But what was written in the notebook is Italians treat Thanksgiving like Halloween. And it's like, at the time I didn't know what to do with it. Right. You know, but now it's like, oh, I totally get it. Like, you have to act out going door to door. Yeah. Like the Italian guy who wants to, you know, get a little, you know, come to your house and eat your Thanksgiving, then he's going to the next house. Hilarious. To eat their Thanksgiving. And it's like, now it's like, okay, now I know where to go with it. I haven't written it out yet to be a bit, but and that was all sparked from our friend Rocky, who came over to our house. Every Thanksgiving he'd show up at our house. We were like, oh man, how was your Thanksgiving? And he would name all the houses he went to. We were like, dude, what do you think? This is trick or treat? You know, like, you go door to door.
What is this, an all you can Thanksgiving? It's a neighborhood all you can eat buffet.
But I mean, I didn't know what to do with it then. Now it's like, I could totally. We
could totally do a show called What's Cooking, and go knock on people's doors and what you got? What you got? What's cooking?
I smelled the smoker.
Am I right or wrong?
Am I right or am I wrong?
All right, but before we go, I love you so much. Like, I could talk to this man for 400 hours.
Well, great, because we have a long ride home now.
Hey-oh! Hold on, ready? We'll do part 2 in the car. But we got to go do the show tonight. But before I go, I always wrap up the show with 2 questions. All right. Question number 1. Yes. Is there a bit, yes, he will. What? He's hungry. That's what that meant. Question number 1. Is there a bit a comic has done that made you go, damn it, that's brilliant. I wish I had written that. And what was it?
Yes. I have
millions, by the way.
There's a ton of them, but the one bit that it was like, if I could have this and not everybody know where it came from,
I'm doing it.
I so bad. But when Rodney Dangerfield, and he does the thing, I love that you're like,
I'm like a mother, darling.
Talk close to the microphone. So Rodney Dangerfield, he's talking about his daughter, but I would want to do it for Angie. Right. When I talk about Angie, I'd love to do the line. And it's not even a joke. It's a throwaway line, but to me, it's like the funniest thing he does. And she's no bargain. To call a human being a bargain.
Angie, she's no bargain.
She's no bargain. I think that is
that's so
the greatest
funny.
Like the way to like describe somebody, or to like, you know, and especially because like, you know, I make fun of Angie, my aunt, but obviously like she's awesome.
So Angie's one of the greatest human beings I've ever gotten to know.
I love it so much that I like tease her and my mother-in-law, who I get along with so well. Aww. And like, they'll come to the show. Angie's mom comes to the show and she's like, "Are you gonna do the bits about me?" She's the best.
Dude, your whole family rocks. Like, it's so. Before we do the second question, I just want to tell everybody out there in old school, new school land that it is so nauseating how adorable their family is. I mean, Mark's parents, I'm in love with, and we haven't met in person. We've only done Zoom.
My mom wants you to marry my brother so you can be a relative.
She could just adopt me. I'm not marrying that piece of shit. That half a fag. I ain't dealing with that. He needs to lift weights. I can't be the man in that relationship. Do you take this woman, Christy, to be your Yeah, bitch. But I'm obsessed with his parents. Angie is one of my favorite. His wife. His kids are adorable. It's gross how great they are. So I love. Yeah, of course they want to get roasted because your family fucking rocks, dude. And the second question that I always ask is, we're comics.
Yeah.
We love hanging out in the green room, kind of like this here in the hotel room. And, you know, me opening for Paul Mooney all those years, he would close his show with street jokes, and he would Mooneyize them.
Nice.
So, you know, us OG comics love a good street joke. So what is your go-to street joke, my love?
As you know, I have a book.
I know. That's why I'm hinting. So plug that book right now, Mr.
So they're being printed again because I ran out of them. But I have a two-way joke book, and if you read the jokes this way, read the book this way, they're all clean.
Right.
And then when you flip it over, they're all dirty. But the thing is they're the same premise. It's not the same joke, but it's the same premise. So if it's like guy walks into a bar, then you flip it, the guy walks into a bar, the dirty ones.
Right.
You know, so it's like, it's pretty cool how we put it together. But God, there's so many that I really love. But I don't know. This one, somebody just told me. So this one right now is on my mind.
Okay, I love it. I'm ready.
So a guy and a girl start dating. And, you know, after about the third date, things are going well. They go back to his place and they make love. And then when they're done, the woman just holds his balls and just starts caressing, rubbing them. And the guy thinks, oh, that's kind of weird, but, you know, I'm not going to complain. So a couple dates, they do it again. They make love and she grabs his testicles and holding them and just, you know, caressing them and rubbing them and just, and the guy's sitting there and he starts to get more comfortable. And it's about the fifth or sixth time they had sex. And she did this after, as soon as they were done. And he goes, you know, I gotta ask, I'm not complaining, but how come every time we make love, you hold and caress my balls? She goes, because I miss mine. I did that because it's Pride Week.
And that's our show, folks. Happy Pride, you ballless bitches. No balls. This is something before I go. I always wanted to go on stage and take your joke book and read your joke book as Cher.
We should do it.
Let's do it. Hey, two Jews walk into a bar and bought it. Woo!
I miss those.
Right?
Like ethnic jokes. They brought people together, you know?
It lightened the load on everybody. It addressed the, you know, stereotypical elephant in the room, you know?
Yeah.
Stereotypes are fun. They're not mean. We're fun. They're silly.
As long as
it's icebreakers.
As long as it's not hateful, no. I'm all about those.
No,
I'm all about.
No. It's
What's
not.
your favorite ethnic joke?
Oh God, there's so many.
I know. Somebody just told me this one. Jackie Flynn.
Oh, okay.
Jackie? He's hysterical because this guy walks into a store. He goes up to the counter. He goes, "I have a pound of Polish ham." The guy behind the counter goes, "You must be a Polak." He goes, "Why? Because I ordered Polish ham. I have to be a Polak. If I ordered the salami, why would I be Italian?" He goes, "No, this is a hardware store."
Here's one. I learned this joke as a kid. And remember that show Bizarre with John Biner?
Yes.
It was on Showtime in the 70s. And it was a Canadian show. And John Biner was a Canadian comic. Hilarious. And he would do silly jokes on, like, they did sketches. Super Dave Osborne was from that. And like brilliant sketches that came out of that. It was kind of like Canada's version of Benny Hill, like a modernized Benny Hill, because they showed boobs and all that shit. And it was called Bizarre. So if you guys just look it up, you'll thank me later, because if you have a fucked up mind like we have, then you'll love this show. It's twisted. And he would tell jokes sometimes. So John Biner, and then he would be was it on the show on Bizarre or something? Or it was like somewhere. It was John Biner that said the joke. Anyway, it doesn't matter. He said, this guy walks into a bar and he sits down, and on his shoulder he's got a beautiful parrot that just sits on his shoulder. And the bartender walks up and goes, "Wow, that's beautiful. Where'd you get that?" Oh, and let me start it over.
Rewind the tape.
Rewind. Sorry. A black guy walks into a bar and he sits down and he has this beautiful parrot sitting on his shoulder. And the bartender walks up and says, "Damn, that's beautiful. Where did you get that?" And the parrot goes, "From Africa." It's so dumb, but it's so funny. But that was a great, and in the very first, before we get the very first street joke I ever learned, and I was 4 years old, my mom punched me in the face.
Oh my
I had
God.
no idea what it meant. It's that joke. What's the difference between a chicken and a whore? The chicken says cock-a-doodle-doo and the whore says any cock will do.
The first joke my dad told this, and I thought it was so funny. And you have to remember now, I'm like 6 years old at the time. Right. And he tells my kids this joke now. He goes, you know how to catch an elephant? You dig a great big hole, and you 8 feet deep, and you put a bunch of brush over it. And then you burn the brush so it fills up with ash. And then you take peas, little green peas, and you line them around the hole. So when the elephant goes up to take a pee, you kick him in the ash hole. As a 6-year-old, that was edgy stuff.
Yeah, ash hole.
And take a pee.
Yeah. And on that note, Mark Riccadonna, I love you more than life.
Oh, you're the best.
Tell everybody where they can find you on the socials.
So I'm at Mark Riccadonna everywhere. And you can also look at Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling. Yeah. That's the podcast. That's where I put all my clips, even my stand-up clips and stuff goes on there. Mm-hmm. So check out Mark Riccadonna or Drinks, Jokes, and Storytelling.
I love it. And, be sure to follow the show here on Instagram at Old Skool New Skool Comedy. You can follow me everywhere at Christy Miller Comedy. And if you're in the Teaneck, New Jersey area, July 21st, come see me, Mark Riccadonna, Eric Marino, and Mike Bichetti at the Debonair Music Hall.
I'm so excited.
This show is going to be epic. That's Sunday, July 21st at 7 p.m. And tickets are online at debonairmusichall.com or on my Linktree or on Mark's website, everywhere. And I love you guys. Don't forget to like, subscribe, and share the show. We love you. Good night.